Hey everyone, Sean here, and today in this video I wanted to talk about my review for Dune, the recent movie that more and more people have been talking about, and seems like it's been a pretty big hit no matter how you look at it. It's based off of a novel from what I can understand, and that's just one of those things. It's like the new hotness. One of any of these popular novels that get turned into books, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents about it, and there won't be any spoilers, so they won't be too long for this video. But let's get to it. So I thought Dune was overall okay, and I think I might be in a minority on this. I just thought it was good. I mean, it was like, to me, amazing in terms of the storytelling. I think the most extravagant thing about the movie is, of course, its visual presentation. The audio side of things as well, the music, of course. I believe it was Hans Zimmer that composed the music for this time, so that's definitely a plus for me. I love Hans Zimmer. Out of all the movie music composers, I really like his work, his style, and stuff like that, and I think it really worked for here in this sort of movie. The visual side of things, like I said, it was very good. It was very high quality, very technical. You're gonna hear a lot of people talk about the visual side of things, and I can definitely agree on that. There are times where you definitely can feel the world, and you can definitely see, and get lost between whether this is like, all shot with a green screen / blue screen, or there's an actual set, like a practical set, which really shows you the quality of like the CGI graphics nowadays. I think it's well done here. Of course, there are the ships, right? So you can definitely tell those are, CGI and all that. But when it comes to like the backgrounds, the environments, I think that's where it actually really shines. In this case here, I think the world is like a character itself, and I think that's a very important thing here to point out because of what Dune is. It takes place with a desert planet of sorts, talking about the sort of resource that everyone is after. Right, there's a sought after resource. In this case here is spices, because it's a essentially a drug. Basically, it's like cocaine. It's like a nice friendly drug war. I guess you can definitely look at it, sort of. But there's a little more to it than that, of course. But I guess that's one way to look at it. Anyway, the visual side of things is a very important thing when it comes to the environment. The creatures, well, there's only really one prominent creature, which is a sandworm. I forget the proper name for it, but everyone just calls it a sandworm because that's pretty much what it is. And there's that. There's also like the mouse, right? It's not much to go off of when it comes to the creature designs, but yeah, when it comes to like the other designs, like the costumes and stuff like that, I thought those were really neat. I think the costumes, when it comes to like the suits that help you preserve your water and like all that stuff, it was really neat. I think it was well designed. I think it was well sort of implemented into the world. It adds more to that like worldliness to it. It makes you kind of you get that feel of like you're in a different world kind of thing. So again, that's why the world building here, I think it was well done. Along with the visual side of things, really complements it, and of course the sounds and all that stuff to really add that atmosphere for Dune. Those parts I really enjoyed. I think really the parts that kind of started to wane off were the characters. The story itself was a little slow, but this is supposed to be part one, so it's really taking its time. So I'll let that pass. But when it comes to the characters themselves, they really come off as like really gray or sort of sterilized. Like they're very serious. There's very small hints of humor amongst the cast of characters. There's some humorous moments, but other than that, it was like very serious. And I get the tone of it. I get it. This is supposed to be that's the tone of it. The tone of the video, but the movie is, you can say it's appropriate, but It, maybe it might be a little too much. I don't know, but overall, it's definitely gray. It definitely feels that way, and there's nothing much you can do about it since that's supposed to be the sort of the direction. I forget his name, but it's like Denis something. Forgive me for forgetting his name, but that's the director. That's the tone he wanted to go for, and that's something I'll respect. But there were times where I was sort of disengaged because there was just, a lot of dialogue. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot of story going on, which does add more to that world. Like I'm more interested in what's going on outside the politics or whatever. Of the whole like royal family type of thing, with the big emperor, the universe, all the other like nations and factions that are sort of after the spice, that sort of thing. Everything else around it was a lot more interesting, seems like, than their characters themselves, which they're on the screen for a lot of times. The main character, of course, is definitely that case. Very, very serious and just I don't want to say lacks emotion, but not bright in terms of campiness and all that stuff. But again, I get that's supposed to be the tone of the movie. So I mean that's pretty much like the gist of it. The world is very interesting, and I'm very much engaged to it when it comes to those parts. But the characters themselves, some of the storytelling elements, that's what came off as like okay, or sort of a little more mundane. And again, there were times where I was starting to sort of like get disengaged because of how the story was being told. Obviously, during the second half of things, that's where it really starts to pick up, right? You have the nation that betrayed and stuff like that, the house that attacks the other house, that sort of thing, and which is like kind of reminiscent to like something like Game of Thrones. And those are some interesting parts. Of course, you got some action going on. That's kind of a given. You have a lot of explosions. There's a lot of ships and guns and pew pews and all that stuff going on. I do like the weapons too, of how they try to like get around each other's shields and such. So that's I thought that was like a really it just like adds more to the world kind of thing. Like it really kind of adds to the touch of like how you see things when it comes to engineering. It's kind of hard to put into words, but the world and how things are engineered, and just like I don't know, the people, not themselves, but the culture and stuff like that. That's where it gets really interesting in all that, rather than the characters themselves. I think that's where I'm trying to get at here. But yeah, so the action sort of things were good. I did like the tension behind it too, with the whole sandworm thing. The acting, well, the actors and actresses did a really good job of what they were given with their characters. They definitely nailed the roles well, or at least more than well enough. And I really thought the performances were good. Jason Momoa, right? We had him as like the ace, like warrior. I forget the main character's name, the young guy or whatever. I know Zendaya is the main female protagonist, sort of, in a way. The main character sees her in dreams, type of thing. I thought she was pretty good for what she was given. The mother definitely was a pretty compelling character in her own right, I think. And then the same goes with the father. I thought the father, Paul's father, excuse me. Now I just remember the main character's name. Paul's father was also an interesting character. It's really always cool to see Oscar Isaac, nail those sort of performances on the screen. Really liked him from Star Wars, and here. I think he did a really good job with what he was given with the material and all that stuff. Other characters. The villain was very compelling. Also, I thought he did his role really well. Like you just love to hate him, type of thing. Like he was a big old dick, as a villain. So I thought the performance there was really good. Definitely one of the more memorable ones. You always gotta make your villains right, and I think they made this villain definitely right for Dune. Not that I like read the book or anything like that, just to make that clear, but just from watching the movie, I thought this villain was pretty well done, very engaging, in comparison to some of the other characters, and yeah, so probably he might be the most memorable character out of all of them. I just don't remember a lot of people's names. It's a little hard since it's supposed to be like this otherworldly sort of language type of thing. Besides Paul and Jessica and such, so yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. Other things, the length and stuff like that, I thought that was fine. I think towards the end, honestly, that's where it started to feel a little long, and maybe that's where the pacing starts to get a little weak. But I understand this is supposed to be like a big part. Not gonna go into what it was exactly, but you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch the movie. Oh, and I definitely watched this on HBO Max, by the way, which I just want to get the story out of it. I don't really care too much about the whole visual experience with IMAX for right now. I just wanted to just watch it, and I have a good enough, decent sound system, so definitely the bass was there, with my soundbar and subwoofer and stuff like that. This is this was more than enough for me to get what I wanted for Dune. I think it also the other quote unquote problem is that it definitely begs for a part 2, which now has been greenlit. So this is today, by the way. Like it was greenlit or officially greenlit today. So definitely tell when I'm recording this. So that's really cool to see. I really wanted to check out more of it, and I think it's a good movie overall. I just think it was. I just think I might be in the minority in a sense that there are a lot of people in my circle that really do like it, and there are people who I follow on various social media platforms that really do like it. When it comes to me, I thought it's like at least okay to good. So I guess with that, I can definitely give it a score of 7 out of 10. At first, I gave it a 6 just because of the story itself, and the characters were something I wasn't as engaged with. It was more of like the world itself, the setting, the sort of designs and stuff like that. That's something I did appreciate. And of course, the fact that a lot of people say it's pretty faithful to the book is something I can respect too. So I think it's a little more appropriate for me to give it a 7 in this case, and that's pretty much like what I can give it, like highest possible 7, or maybe even lowest possible 7. I don't know. Either way, it's a 7, and that's just kind of how I feel about it. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where there's this thing that a lot of people like, and then I just found it okay. This kind of happened with Undertale. This kind of happened with Nier Automata, but I like Nier Automata a lot more than something like Undertale, for example. But anyway, I just thought Undertale was okay. I understand that a lot of people were liking it. A lot of people wanted me to play it, and I did, and I thought it was okay. Nier Automata, I was playing at the same time with people within my circle, and then I finished it last because I kind of took my time with it, and people were like, "Dude, you gotta finish it," and then yeah, that kind of happened too. But I like Nier Automata. But when it comes to Dune, I kind of feel similar things about it. I'm kind of feeling like similar memories with it of how I thought it was just okay, and then a lot of people are liking it for right now. But at least it did well enough to where they actually greenlit the thing today, like I said. So that's good. So it definitely is. It definitely will fill in the problem of like the whole part 1 thing. It definitely begs for a part 2, and and we are getting it. So, but yeah, I think the other thing, one more thing I did want to say is that I think Dune might have been better off being a TV series. That way you can like really elaborate on on these things, these areas and such. You can really expand on like the otherworldly politics, right? The whole like empire or this like guild or whatever I think it's called, with all the other nations that make these decisions of who gets to run this planet or something like that. That whole thing could have been expanded upon. Because and I should have mentioned this too. From what I can understand, there was another movie in the 80s that was done for Dune, but because of how difficult the story is to tell in a movie or for a movie, it didn't do as well. But it did do things that this movie didn't. This new movie didn't, which is to talk about other things, some of the other interesting stuff as well to fit in the movie. It talked about those things in the older movie, while this movie didn't. So there actually are some things that the older movie did better in some degree, in a very certain degree, than the newer movie did. Obviously, the newer movie is better overall as a whole, because the other one is very campy. It's just kind of comical at this point, how it aged. But when it comes to this one, it's definitely more serious in tone. Takes itself very seriously, and it's a very different tone. Of course, with different directors and all that stuff, that's bound to happen. I think this was, something a long time or something people were waiting for a very long time, and I think the wait paid off. So I'm happy for them. For those who really like the book, that were looking forward to this movie or really liking it. So yeah, I think it says something about this movie. So I'll give him my respects. So yeah, I think that's pretty much at this point me blabbering on. So I'll put a stop here. So overall, I thought it was all right. I'll give it like the highest 7 or whatever out of 10 still. And I had no problem watching it in the comfort of my home, which is thanks to HBO Max. And there were people happy who watched it in the theater, with the IMAX experience, all that fun stuff. So I mean, they say it's a very different experience and all that stuff, but I just want to get the story. So that's what my situation was with the movie. So yep, that's pretty much all for me, for realsies. And if you have any comments about Dune, please leave it down below in the comment section. I would love to check them out. What do you guys think of the movie? And are you guys looking forward to part 2 now that it's been greenlit? So that's pretty much it for this video on my review for Dune. Thank you guys very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Sean out.